Let's do this. Yeah. Brooklyn in the house. Joe Tacopina right ahead of Mike Breen. Breen's on his way to Canada this afternoon. He'll call, of course, alongside Van Gundy and Jackson, the NBA Finals, which starts Thursday night. Warriors and Raptors. We'll talk to Mike Breen coming up at 9:05. But famed defense attorney, my poly prep buddy forever, and now, of course, a dear friend of both Bernie and I, Joe Tacopina, here today, usually here on Mondays, but was off yesterday, so Tacopina kind enough to hop on today, and here he is, the great Joe Tacopina. Good morning, Joe.
I'm so late for court right now, you have no idea.
Oh, who cares about court? You're on with Bernie and Sid. Come on.
The judge is listening to us right now.
I mean, look, you're a star. We saw you on Channel 5 last week with Rosanna Scotto and Laurie Stokes. You look great. And and I'm reading TMZ this weekend, because I do that. I read TMZ, both the regular and the sports. And I see this rapper of yours, this Meek Mill, who you represent. He's trying to go to the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas. And they're not letting him in. And according to the report that I read, which you wrote, Joe, they have a habit of not letting African-American artists into that hotel, the Cosmopolitan in Vegas. So you guys are screaming racism.
Yeah, it is racism. I mean, I'm not going to dance around the word. It's racism, and the Cosmopolitan's going to pay for what they did. Look, it's not just the Cosmopolitan. There are a bunch of hotels in Las Vegas who have this little blacklist of African American.
Can you name them besides them? If you said there are a bunch, can you name a couple more
of the other hotels?
Yeah.
Look, what right now, obviously, the focus is on the Cosmopolitan.
Sure.
I'm gathering information. This happened 2 days ago. There was another hotel that a rapper named Yo Gotti was excluded from. I think it was the Win, but again, I'm not sure. But we have a list of African American rappers who are specifically prohibited from entering properties of hotels, which is unbelievable. I mean, look, these are private properties, and they get to decide the rules and who comes and who doesn't. But that rule can't be based on discrimination, and it can't be based on racism, and it can't be based on the color of your skin, and that's what's happening. I mean, Vanilla Ice would never be excluded from the Cosmopolitan if he showed up, for instance.
But do these people have any history of disruptive behavior?
Question. That's a different story. Look, if they had felony records, or if they had incidences in the past where there were concern for hotel security and guests, that's one thing. Meek had never had an incident there at all.
No, but he wasn't asking you about Meek Mill. He was asking about the hotel. Okay.
No, but wait, listen to this. Here's what happened. We have videotape of this, and that's why the Cosmopolitan's in trouble. When he first drove up there, Rock Nation is who represents Meek, and there was another Rock Nation artist at the club, the Marquee Club at the Cosmopolitan that night. Meek was going there. Before he was able to get out of his car, security was waiting for him, saying, if you get out of the car, you're trespassing. If you're trespassing, you'll be arrested.
But stop right there, Joe. Stop right there. You just mentioned it, and that's what I was going to bring up. They were going to see a rap show that the hotel was throwing. A guy named DJ Mustard was throwing it, and presumably the audience, to see DJ Mustard, they were all black kids for the most part. So it doesn't make sense that they would single out Meek Mill.
It doesn't. And then they use two different reasons. That's the part. And where they get caught in the lie is, unfortunately, they didn't see the videotape before they put out their official statement. On the videotape, the chief of security is telling Meek, at first he had no idea why he was being excluded. Then he subsequently said, it's because of a prior incident, fight in the hotel that you're being excluded. And Meek's like, what are you talking about? You're mixing me up with somebody else. And then, because Meek had never been a fight at the hotel or had never had an incident, and then was there once with Jay-Z. And then lastly, they put out a statement saying, you know what it was? The Club Marquee was filled to capacity. We were overcrowded, so we couldn't let anyone else in. Well, that's a completely different reason than the one they gave. And more importantly, Meek had said to them, I just want to go get something to eat at the hotel then. And they said, if you get out of the car, you're going to be arrested. So that had nothing to do with Club Marquee. He's on tape telling the security guard, why can't he go to the hotel?
Well, listen, I will say this. I will say this. I know he's your boy, and you did a great job against Brinkley and the FBI back in 2017 to make sure he wasn't going to prison for a lengthy period of time. You won that tack, and you did a great job. It was a big deal. But the truth is, this guy has been trouble since 2008. He's been in and out of trouble, convictions and crimes, and this is not an altar boy, Joe.
No.
Joe,
it's not an altar boy, but he had one conviction in 2008 when he was 18 years old, based on false evidence. Cops who have subsequently been named by the FBI as perjurious and lying officers. That's why everyone, including the governor of Pennsylvania, is rallied behind Meek Mill as a sort of a face of reform and justice, and have been supportive of him in his case, in that Philadelphia case. That was a kid who did absolutely nothing that would cause him to be on probation 12, 13, 14 years later. Nothing. So he's not had a problem since then. He's been actually someone who's given back. He does a lot of great work for charities. He's really been a poster boy for reform. And the guy was thrown in jail for 4 or 5 months by a judge who's been nothing more than vindictive, who is a district attorney of Philadelphia, has also said needs to be removed from the case. So more importantly, he's a human being. And when he showed up to the property that day, he did nothing other than being black. That's the God's honest truth. I know we don't like to say that's uncomfortable for us, but that's the truth. He did nothing more. And he was trying to get out of the car, and they threatened him with arrest.
It's not uncomfortable for us to say that at all. If that happens, that ain't right. No
happens
justice, no peace, my brother.
Yeah, happens a lot. So you're going to win this. It sounds like a slam dunk, Joe.
It is a slam dunk. I mean, I'm going to take that Cosmopolitan to the cleaners because they came up with 2 separate.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be called Meek Mill and Joe Tacopina's Cosmopolitan.
We're all going to Italy with Joe on vacation, too.
I love it. Hey, one more on the way out quickly. And again, we wish you the best of luck with Meek Mill. You've been there for him before, and you've done a great job for him. Harvey Weinstein, $44 million settlement. But as it turns out, none of that money is going to actresses Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan. Both are on record this weekend saying, hey, we're not getting any of that money. In fact, Ashley Judd said, not only am I not getting any of that money, but I am not done. I will not be done on this until this thing goes to trial. So all we keep hearing, from Arthur Rydell and all these people is that Weinstein's got a chance to get off here, but it seems like a couple of these Hollywood actresses are not going to be happy until he suffers the ultimate fate. What do you think about the Weinstein case?
That is the biggest hurdle for the defense in this case. Again, I think this case has factual problems. I think the complainant has factual problems. I think the investigation that they did has real issues. Some have been acknowledged by the district attorney in court. The problem with this case is not necessarily going to be the facts. Don't forget, this is one allegation by one individual. The problem is going to be all the other stuff. $44 million in settlement, you hear. Well, who the hell settles for $44 million unless you're guilty, right? So that's what potential jurors are going to hear and know. And when Ashley Judd and all these other people are out there on a crusade, it permeates the potential jury pool, and that's what you have to worry about. And look, again, I've had cases where, the notoriety before the trial, leading up to trial, was horrific. And, what you have to do is deal with that head on with the jury and say, guys, you've heard it. Here's what they've said about him. Are you going to decide this case based on what you've read in newspapers or what you've seen in this courtroom? And that's going to have to be the strategy, and to make sure you get jurors who are smart enough and honest enough to follow their oath and decide the case based on what they see on the witness stand, not what they've read in a blog or newspaper or something else.
By the way, that was a class action lawsuit. The average plaintiff gets $65,000, whereas the lawyers get a total of $14 million. I mean,
that's about right. That sounds
right. I thought you would think that. Listen, Joe Tacopina, we love you. You're great. Thank you for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Excellent job, Joe. Good luck in court today. The great defense attorney, Joe Tacopina.